Shalom, shalom, shalom to the 12 tribes scattered to the four corners of the earth. All praise to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem HaMashiach Yahweh Shai, which is the name of the Most High God and His Son in the Paleo-Hebrew tongue, right? So shalom and barakatah, which is peace and blessings to those of you diligently seeking the Most High and His wisdom in these last days. So, I really got to say one more time, all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High for putting the Spirit on me to do this lesson, which is going to be called Satan's Spirits, Devils, and Devices, right? Because this is a very important lesson or topic that I haven't really seen too many brothers doing lessons on at all, right? So these are things that followers of the Bible and followers of the Most High need to know, right? We have to know how our enemy operates and how he works in order to see his tricks and devices coming, and in order to even really have a chance at defeating him, right? It's like when I would do MMA, for example, and when I was going to have a fight, I would learn about my opponent so I could know how to counter that opponent's tricks and offense, so to speak, right? So we're going to look at some of the many different ways and devices that Satan uses to get to us and to get us to slip up and turn away from the Most High, right? So let's jump right into it. We're going to start with Luke chapter 22, starting on verse 31. And Yahweh said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan hath desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat. So if we look at the word Satan, right, in the Strong's Concordance, which, like I said before, is basically a Greek and Hebrew dictionary that tells you what the word actually means. It's Satan in English, or Shatan, or Hashatan in Hebrew, right, is the prince of evil spirits. All right, he's the prince of evil spirits, which, of course, the prince of evil spirits has many evil spirits working for him as well, right? Just as the Most High and his Son have many working for them, right? So one more time, this is Luke 22 and 31. And Yahweh said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan hath desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat. So first thing you have to realize is that if you are trying to follow the word, right, Satan desires you, right? Meaning he is 100% gonna try to throw you off track if you are trying to serve Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, right? Which is why Sirach, the 2nd chapter, the 1st verse says, My son, if thou come to serve Yahweh, prepare thy soul for temptation, right? If you're coming to serve Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, you need to know and be prepared, knowing that you will be tempted, right? The tempter is going to tempt you. And who is the one who is going to tempt you? Satan and his devils and spirits, of course, right? So now let's go to Matthew. This is Matthew chapter 4 and verse 1. Then was Yahushua led up of the spirit into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil, right? So if Yahushua, our Messiah, was tempted of Satan, then we most definitely will be tempted as well as followers of him and followers of his example, right? Verse 2, and when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterward hungered. So he was hungry, obviously, right? And when the tempter came to him, he said, If thou be the Son of the Most High, command that these stones be made bread. But he answered and said, It is written, Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Most High. Right? So now Yahushua and the devil are having a little back and forth, right? And look at how our Messiah handles being tempted by him, right? He immediately turns to the words of the Bible, right? And he uses them against the devil. Right? He says, man shall not live by bread alone, right? But by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of the Most High, which is the word, right? The Bible. We're supposed to live off of this word as well, right? This is verse 5. Then the devil taketh him up into the holy city, and setteth him on a pinnacle of the temple, and saith unto him, If thou be the Son of the Most High, cast thyself down, for it is written, he shall give his angels charge concerning thee, and in their hands they shall bear thee up, lest at any time thou dash thy foot against a stone. Right? So the devil tempts him again, and this time he uses the word, right? Satan uses the word. See, we got to remember that Satan and his devils, they know this word too, man. It's not only you studying to get this word, right? It's not only the people following it that know the word. Satan knows the word better than you do, right? So he uses the word this time, right? And that's how some camps, some churches, some brothers, some people can use the word and twist it to try to get you to fall, right? You got to be careful for that. Verse 7, Yahushua said unto him, it is written again, thou shalt not tempt Yahweh thy God. So then Yahushua comes back at Satan, right? So Yahushua uses the word against Satan. Then Satan tries to use the word against Yahushua. Then Yahushua comes back again with Deuteronomy 6:16, right? He says, you shall not tempt Yahweh thy God, right? Showing us that when evil comes against us, anytime when Satan or one of his spirits comes against us in the form of so-called friends, family members, strangers, pastors, etc., our best defense to go to when speaking against them is to use the word as our shield and buckler, right? Psalm 91:4. So I'm going to jump back into it. This is verse 8. Again, the devil taketh him up into an exceeding high mountain and showeth him all the kingdoms of the world and the glory of them, and saith unto him, all these things will I give thee if thou wilt fall down and worship me. Right? So this promise or this bait is what many people fall for, man. Satan promises people this world, right? Whether it be money, whether it be cars, whether it be houses, whether it be women, whether it be any lust or thing of the world, right? And many people to this day, right, will worship Satan for those things, for the things of this world, right? Because 2 Corinthians 4:4 tells you that the god of this world is Satan, right? Therefore, he has the power to give people the material riches of this world, right? If they will serve him, though. Which is why you see all these rich people, right, showing you openly today that they serve Satan, that they serve the devil, throwing up the 666 sign, throwing up the all-seeing eye sign, right? Many people are openly serving Satan to get the riches of this world, right? Whether it be Beyonce, Kanye, Rihanna, Jay-Z, Dan Bilzerian. I don't know if y'all are familiar with that dude. He's a multi-millionaire. You look him up on Instagram, and he's got the goat head, the Satan goat head, as his profile picture, right? LeBron James at the beginning of his games throwing up the 666 sign with his hand, then throwing up the all-seeing eye with his hands, right? All these other rich people, man. And it's because Satan makes you rich materially, right? But you have to show that you worship him in return for that, right? You have to worship him over the Most High, right? So let's get back into it. Verse 10. Then saith Yahushua unto him, get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, thou shalt worship Yahweh thy God, and him only shalt thou serve, right? And they have most definitely sold their souls, like it says people do in Revelation 18. If you read Revelation 18 is the downfall of Babylon, right? But verses 11 through 13, it says that souls of men are for sale in Babylon the Great, which is America, right? This is verse 11. Then the devil leaveth him, and behold, angels came and ministered unto him, right? So Yahushua gave Satan the word, and he rebuked him, right, with the word, right, which is what we are supposed to do, like I said. And then the Most High's angels came and ministered unto him, right, which minister in Hebrew is sharath, which just means to serve or to wait on, right? So the angels came and served Yahushua for enduring Satan, for going against Satan, right? Because like James 1 and 12 says, blessed is the man that endure temptation, right? When we fight off the devils and Satan and his spirits, we will be blessed in one way or another, right? So now let's go to 1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 8. It says, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. Right? We have to be sober, right? Get a little more light in here. So we have to be sober. What does it mean to be sober? Nepho is the Greek word for sober, right? And it means to be unintoxicated, right? Unintoxicated, the opposite of intoxicated, right? Not smoking weed, not doing drugs or pharmaceuticals, not drinking too much wine. It means having presence of mind, right? To have clear judgment. It means enabling someone to be temperate, right? To be self-controlled. You can't take on subtle, sneaky, sly serpents like Satan and his devils and his evil spirits, right? Which are ancient spirits, if you aren't even sober-minded, right? These spirits have learned many, many, many tricks over the centuries, and we gotta be clear-headed to see them coming, right? So be sober and be vigilant is what it says, right? Vigilant means to be awake, right? Or to be watchful, right? We can't fall asleep spiritually. We always gotta have that watchful eye, so to speak. Be watching how people are acting, how they're saying things, how they're saying certain things, how they say them, and even their facial expressions and their intentions behind what they're saying, right? Why? Because like it says, like a roaring lion, these devils are walking around looking for souls to devour, right? So praying for a watchful eye, praying for a spirit of discernment is very important in this walk, man. Do not neglect to pray for that, right? Because you'll be setting yourself up for failure if you do. You need that discernment. You need that vigilant spirit and that watchful spiritual eye, right? So now let's go to Mark chapter 4, starting on verse 14. The sower soweth the word, and these are they by the wayside, where the word is sown. But when they have heard, Satan cometh immediately, and taketh away the word that was sown in their hearts. So anytime the word is being sown or spoken to you, or you're even reading it, watching a video, etc., you have to expect for Satan or one of his spirits to come and try and take away that word from you immediately, right? And man, let me tell you, I have personally seen this happen too many times to even mention them all, right? Just last week, I was talking to a sister, right, who was going through some trials, going through some things, and we were going over a few verses at my house, and she was really accepting of the verses that I was giving her, right? I could see her spirit was getting uplifted as we were going through the precepts. So I then had these two verses that we just read, right? Mark 4:14 and 4:15. I had them ready, and I started to tell her, look, I'm glad this seems to be helping you, and it seems to be lifting up your countenance, your spirit, right? But I gotta tell you that you need to know how Satan works. And in some form, he is going to try to throw you off, right? In the form of friends, in the form of family, or some other way, he's going to try and throw you off track. And she started talking about this one friend of hers, right? And she was agreeing or admitting that this particular friend is probably bad for her, or is bad for her spiritually, right? So as she's talking, her phone beeps, right? And she says, and I'll never forget it, right? Because she said, speak of the devil, right? Speak of the devil, right? As the phone rings, because it was the friend we were talking about, right? So she opens the message, and she looks shocked for a split second, right? And then she started laughing, and she sees the message. As she sees it, right, she starts laughing. So she turns the phone and she shows me the message, right? And it was a picture of this friend that we were talking about, and she had devil horns on her head, right? Because she used some filter or some what is it? I think a Snapchat filter that had devil horns, and the picture's all red, right? So while I had this precept ready, and while she was agreeing that this person was bad for her spiritually, then she says, "Speak of the devil," right? And then this female sent a picture with a devil filter, right? Like you can't make this stuff up, man. It was crazy, but like I told her, it was just the Most High proving his word to be true, while at the same time giving her a sign or a warning as to this person in particular, right? So I'm going to read it one more time. There's Mark 4:14. The sower soweth the word, and these are they by the wayside, where the word is sown. But when they have heard, Satan cometh immediately and taketh away the word that was sown in their hearts, right? So, matter of fact, while I was putting this lesson together, I was getting the verses together and stuff, right, for this lesson, my rib asked to get a number off of my phone, right? And she was swiping, my phone's kind of cracked, so sometimes when you swipe, it pulls up the keyboard for some reason, right? So she was swiping up, and she was like typing. It was typing, and she showed me that it accidentally typed something on the keyboard, right? And what it typed was VI. As I'm coming up with this lesson, right? As I'm trying to do this lesson on my laptop or pull up the verses. So VI, if you know Roman numerals, that is 666 in Roman numerals, right? Then she tried to show me what happened, right? So she tried to swipe up the same way. And when she did it again and tried to show me what happened, she swiped up, and it actually said VI by VI, right? So it's crazy. It's like Satan with the 666, but then it typed VI by VI, right? As in by 6, by, right? And I told her it's because I'm putting this lesson together, right? And I, in a way, rebuked it, saying, like, yeah, it said Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai by 6, by, you know what I mean? Like, everything is spiritual if you have a spiritual and a watchful eye to see it, right? Like we read in 1 Peter 5:8. So remember and be prepared for Satan to try and come and tempt you or get you out of the spirit. As soon as this lesson ends, or as soon as you're done watching another lesson from somebody else, from me, whether you're reading, whatever it is, man, Satan is going to try to come immediately and take away the word that is sown in your heart. Sometimes it even happens during you getting the word, right? So now let's go to Matthew 12:22. So this is Matthew chapter 12, starting on verse 22. Then was brought unto him one possessed with a devil, blind and dumb, and he healed him, insomuch that the blind and dumb both spake and saw, right? So people get possessed by devils. Devils can get into you and possess or control you, man. Some people who claim to believe in the Bible don't believe that this can actually happen, right? But it can, and I've seen it personally multiple times, man. I didn't used to believe in this, but once I saw it happen a few times and actually saw the spirits, then I had to believe it, right? And this happens all the time if you really think about it. More times than we would even like to realize, right? That's why all throughout the scriptures, the Old Testament, the Apocrypha, the New Testament, there's accounts of this happening, man, right? That's why Yahushua and his disciples were healing people of devils or evil spirits, right? Actually, let's prove that real quick. I'm gonna go. This is Mark chapter 3, starting on 14. It says, and he ordained 12, Yahushua ordained 12, that they should be with him, and that he might send them forth to preach. Verse 15. And to have power to heal sicknesses and to cast out devils, right? So not only our Messiah, but also his 12 main followers, his 12 disciples, were casting devils out of people as well, right? So now let's get into a few accounts of people getting vexed or possessed with spirits, right? Because as we're going to see, this can happen to anybody, man. It doesn't matter if you're rich. It doesn't matter if you're poor. It doesn't matter if you're in the truth, out the truth. It does not matter. So let's look at the account with King Saul in 1 Samuel, right? So this is 1 Samuel chapter 16, verses 14 and 15. It says, "But the spirit of Yahweh departed from Saul, and an evil spirit from Yahweh troubled him. And Saul's servant said unto him, Behold, now an evil spirit from God troubleth thee. So the spirit of the Most High left from King Saul," right? "And an evil spirit," and it says from Yahweh, "troubled him," or came upon him, as it says in, we're going to read in verse 23, which we're going to read, right? So a little backstory on this. In the previous chapter, in chapter 15, Saul disobeyed the Most High, right? Matter of fact, let's read it real quick, just so you can get context of it. So this is 1 Samuel 15 and 24. It says, "And Saul said unto Samuel, I have sinned, for I have transgressed the commandment of Yahweh and thy words, because I feared the people and obeyed their voice," right? So Saul sinned like many people do, right? Like many people do, because he feared what people were going to say. He feared what people were going to say about him, and he went against the Most High, right? So what did the Most High do to the king of Israel at that time? The head of Israel at that time? He let an evil spirit come upon him, right? Isaiah 45 and 7 says, "I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, Yahweh, do all these things," right? So the Most High is in control of everything, right? And because of that, we got to love and fear him, man. So back to chapter 16. 1 Samuel 16, 14 and 15. "But the spirit of Yahweh departed from Saul, and an evil spirit from Yahweh troubled him. And Saul's servants said unto him, Behold, now an evil spirit from the Most High troubleth thee. Let our Lord now command thy servants, which are before thee, to seek out a man, who is a cunning player on a harp. And it shall come to pass, when the evil spirit from the Most High is upon thee, that he shall play with his hand, and thou shalt be well," right? So this is verse 23. "And it came to pass, when the evil spirit from the Most High was upon Saul, that David took a harp and played with his hand. So Saul was refreshed and was well, and the evil spirit departed from him," right? So David played the harp, and it refreshed Saul, right? And it made the evil spirit depart from Saul, right? Now here's the thing, though. The servants knew that him playing the harp, they knew that his music would get rid of that spirit, right? And this is something that we all got to realize, so that we can apply it to our lives today, right? Because music is so easily accessible in this day and age, and because of that, it's a big part of our lives, and it's a big part of our spiritual lives, right? We got to realize that music brings certain spirits with it, right? Back in the days of the old me, right, before I was in the truth, I was a thief, man. I would jack copper from buildings, right, that were being built. I would jack weed connects that I knew, right, or even we would jack storage units, right? And almost every time, I'd be listening to some 3-6 Mafia before I'd go out and do it, right? 3-6 Mafia, aka 666 Mafia, right? And that would get me in the mood. If y'all have heard that type of music, it puts you in a certain type of mood, right? It puts a certain type of spirit on you. It would put a certain type of spirit on me to go and do what I was going to go do, right? And another example of this is like Cardi B, for example, or Megan Thee Stallion, right? They can be singing about WAP, or singing about being straight up whores, man. Like straight up whores, right? And millions of women automatically get that spirit on them and go out and perpetuate deeds of a harlot or of a whore or of a hoe, right? because the spirits are invoked by that type of music, right? Spirits are invoked by listening to certain types of music, right? And that's why there's even videos, I've posted about it before. There's satanic witches that put spells on the master tracks of certain songs or of certain albums, right? To put them demonic forces and them evil spirits on that particular music, right? So then on the other hand, you have music like David's, right? David's harp playing, right? That would get rid of evil spirits, right? And if y'all have ever heard that song Hallelujah, for example, the first lyrics on that song are, I heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord, right? So in that song, they were referencing these verses right here in 1 Samuel 16. So that being said, we got to watch out for the music we're listening to. We got to watch out for anything that comes into our ears, right? Because they can have certain spirits on them, right? If you need some good truth music to hear, right, you can look up Joaquin Yasharala, myself, Jomar, King Easy, Elroy the Jew, Humble for Yah, Daraka Bar, and any other related artists that make truth music or music that spreads the Most High's truth, right? I don't like to label it as truth music, but anything that uplifts the Father, that is teaching people about the Word, right? That spreads the Most High's truth. So this was the king of Israel that got possessed by a spirit, right? But it can also happen to a common man, right? Which we're going to read here in Mark chapter 5, right? So this is Mark chapter 5, starting on verse 1. And they came over unto the other side of the sea, into the country of the Gadarenes. And when he was come out of the ship, immediately there met him out of the tombs a man with an unclean spirit, who had his dwelling among the tombs. And no man could bind him, no, not with chains. So Yahushua went by ship, right, to the country of the Gadarenes. And immediately when he was coming off the ship, he saw a man who had an unclean spirit on him, right? And he was living or dwelling in the tombs, right? The tombs is basically an old cemetery, man, right? Sometimes they were underground. So he was living with a bunch of dead bodies, right? Probably talking to them, playing with them, doing Most High knows what, right? And it said no man could bind him or hold him, not even with chains, right? Because some of them spirits can make you really strong, man. Matter of fact, back in my Christian days, right? I had a real good ex-friend of mine that was seeing evil spirits. She even said she saw what looked like a devil with horns and goat's legs as tall as the ceiling, right? Which was probably like about 9 feet high. But long story short, one day a brother from the church and I tried to go and talk to her, right? Because she had been sitting on her bed, Indian style, right, with her face looking down and her hair all down for hours, right? She wouldn't talk to anybody. She was even growling at one of her sisters when her sister would try to talk to her, right? So we went to try and talk to her, and she wouldn't say anything, right? So the brother that I was with, he went and put his hand on her shoulder, right? He went in and did this, right? He went and put his hand on her shoulder, right? To try and to see, try and comfort her, I guess. And he was a big dude, man. He was he's only about 5'8" or 5'9", but he's about 250 pounds, right? He probably benches 3-something. And he put his hand on his shoulder, and he couldn't move her, man. And she's about 120, 130 pounds, you know what I mean? So when it says chains couldn't even hold this man, that's what it's talking about. Them evil spirits can make you really strong, right? So let's go to verse 4. Because that he had been often bound with fetters and chains, and the chains had been plucked asunder by him, and the fetters broken in pieces, neither could any man tame him. So he had chains and fetters put on him, right? Fetters, for those of you who don't know, fetters are the type of chains that they put around prisoners' ankles, right? They put the little chains with the little shackles on him, right? So he was often put in chains, and he would break them to pieces, is what it says, man. That's how strong the spirit on him was, right? He was popping them chains like they were damn rubber bands, man, right? So this is verse 5. And always, night and day, he was in the mountains and in the tombs, crying and cutting himself with stones. So day and night, he was crying and cutting himself with stones, right? We almost all have at least known one person or known people that have cut themselves, right? I used to live with an old friend, and he would do this. He would cut himself, man. And he even knew he had a spirit on him, right? But he would just say that it was around him, right? He would talk to this spirit from time to time. I'd catch him. He would be by himself in his room, and I'd be like, hey, who you talking to, whatever? Oh, nobody. You know what I'm saying? And this dude would cut himself. He would cut his chest. I remember one time his sister saw him cutting little lines on his eyes. And then they were like, what happened? You cut yourself? He's like, no, I ran into a branch. You know what I'm saying? Like, just like in this account, he had an evil spirit on him, right? So this is verse 6. But when he saw Yahushai afar off, he ran and worshipped him and cried with a loud voice and said, what have I to do with thee, Yahushai, thou son of the Most High God? I adjure thee by the Most High that thou torment me not. For he said unto him, come out of the man, thou unclean spirit. Right? So right off the bat, the spirit knew who Yahushai was. Right? And he even told him, please don't torment me. Because Yahushai told the spirit to come out of the man. Right? So this is verse 9. And he asked him, what is thy name? And he answered, saying, so Yahushai asked the spirit, what is your name? And he answered, saying, my name is Legion, for we are many, right? We are many. So Yahushua asked the spirit, what is your name, right? And what did he say? He said, my name's Legion, because we are many, right? This dude had many spirits on him. And there is no new thing under the sun, right? What was then is now, according to Ecclesiastes 1 and 9, right? So there's people walking around right now with many spirits on them, man. Magic Johnson's son comes to mind. If y'all never seen him, look up Magic Johnson's son, Billie Eilish, Nicki Minaj, right? Beyonce, many other people come to mind when I think about this, man. People walking around everywhere, and they got many spirits on them, a legion of demons, right? Verse 10, and he besought him much that he would not send them away out of the country. Now was there nigh unto the mountains a great herd of swine feeding. And all the devils besought him, saying, send us into the swine that we may enter into them. So all the devils started begging our Mashiach, our Messiah, to let them leave the man, right? And go into the herd of pigs, into the swine. So he said, I'll oblige you, right? He let them. This is verse 13. And forthwith Yahushua gave them leave, and the unclean spirits went out and entered into the swine, and the herd ran violently down a steep place into the sea, right? There were about 2,000 and were choked in the sea. So Yahushua said, all right, I'll let you go into the swine, but y'all are going to jump off that cliff and fall into the sea and drown, right? So here's the crazy part, though. It says there were about 2,000 of them, right? 2,000. Verse 14. And they that fed the swine fled and told it in the city and in the country. And they went out to see what it was that was done. And they come to Yahushua and see him that was possessed with the devil and had the legion, sitting and clothed and in his right mind. And they were afraid. And they that saw it told them how it befell to him that was possessed with the devil, and also concerning the swine. And they began to pray him to depart out of their coasts. Right? So think about this for a second now. The people that knew the man had a legion of spirits, a legion of devils or demons on him, right? They came and saw, and they saw that the man was healed, all right? But they were scared, man. They were afraid. They were so afraid that they began to pray Yahushai, or they began to beg Yahushai is what it means, right? They were begging him to leave. So now, why were they that afraid? Ask yourself that for a second. Why were they so scared that they were telling Yahushua to leave, right? Why were they so scared if Yahushua just got the spirits out of this dude, right? That he had on him. It's because them spirits that went into the herd of 2,000 pigs, and then what happened? The pigs jumped off the cliff and drowned, right? So now think about it this way. Now there's a whole legion of spirits just roaming around seeking who they may devour, like it says in 1 Peter 5 and 8, right? So imagine a whole damn town or city with every person or every other person that's got an evil spirit on them, right? Just from that one person, that one legion, and it just goes out and fills up everybody in the city, right? The Vatican, Las Vegas, right? Or anywhere that the fake Jews live, right? The so-called Jewish people, right? Because like Revelation 2 and 9 and 3 and 9 says, I know the blasphemy of them that say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan, right? So if you look up synagogue means the chief place or the head house, right? Where Satan dwells. Satan is dealing heavily with them, man. So imagine a whole congregation or a little city of them devils, a whole legion of people, right? Just being controlled by Satan, right? So now let's go to Luke 22 and 3. It says, then entered Satan into Judas, surnamed Iscariot, being of the number of the 12. So Satan entered into Judas. Most of y'all are probably familiar with this story. Judas, who betrayed Yahushua, right? So now let's jump to verse 21. It says, where they, Salakia, verse 21, but behold, the hand of him that betrayeth me is with me on the table. And truly the Son of Man goeth as it was determined. But woe unto that man by whom he is betrayed. And they began to inquire amongst themselves which of them it was that should do this thing. And there was also a strife amongst them, which of them should be accounted the greatest. So Satan enters into Judas, right, at the beginning of the chapter. Then Yahushua tells all the disciples, while at what they call the Last Supper, right? He tells the disciples, one of you is going to betray me, right? And what do they start doing? They start arguing. There's a strife amongst them, right? 1 Corinthians 14 and 40 says you got to do all things decently and in order, right? Yahweh is a God of order. So anytime there's arguing, there is strife, and things aren't being done decently and in order, it's Satan and his spirits causing this, right? Satan was sitting at the table in Judas Iscariot. And guess what he did to deflect or to detract attention from himself, right? He got everybody to just start arguing, man. This is one of Satan's devices for sure, right? If he can get an argument started in between people that are trying to work out something by the Bible, right? You're not going to be able to do things decently and in order according to the Most High's word if you're arguing, right? So remember that when dealing with brethren, when dealing with sisters, with your husband, your wife, your children, with anybody, you need to remember this. We have to do things decently and in order. And when it's full of strife and back and forth and arguing, you cannot do it that way, right? So this is also a good example of why you shouldn't just let any person into your house, right? Salakia. You shouldn't let anybody into your home, because you could be inviting them evil spirits into your home and you didn't even know it, right? Like it says in Hebrews 13 and 2, many have entertained angels unaware. Angel just means messenger, right? And you don't want to entertain Satan's angels without knowing it, right? So this is Sirach 11 and 29. It says, bring not every man into thine house, for the deceitful man hath many trains. Right? Don't bring just anybody into your home, into where you and your family stay, because Satan has many ways of getting to you. Trains are used for what? They are used for transportation, right? Satan's just looking for a body, for somebody to use to get to you, to transport himself into your home and cause some mischief, man. So this is verse 30. Like as a partridge taken and kept in a cage, so is the heart of the proud. And like as a spy watcheth he for thy fall. The devil that you invite into your house is just going to be watching to see how he can make you fall. Verse 31, for he lieth in wait and turned good into evil, and in things worthy praise will lay blame upon thee. He will be lying in wait like a lion waits for his prey, right? He will try to turn good into evil for you. You're trying to do good. He is going to turn that into evil. He's going to be waiting for that moment, right? Verse 32, of a spark of fire, a heap of coals is kindled, and a sinful man layeth wait for blood. So it says from a little spark, a bunch of coals are lit, right? And from that little entrance that you give Satan into your home could come your spiritual death, right? Because he's going to what? It says he's going to lay in wait for your blood, man. He is going to try to bring you to your spiritual death. 33. Take heed of a mischievous man, for he worketh wickedness. Take heed of a mischievous man, for he worketh wickedness, lest he bring upon thee a perpetual blot. You have to take heed of a man or woman that is living wickedly. Because if you don't take heed to them, they may bring you what they said is a perpetual blot. What is perpetual? Perpetual is everlasting, man. You ain't gonna make it to the kingdom, in other words, if you have a perpetual blot. 34, receive a stranger into thine house, and he will disturb thee and turn thee out of thine own. If you receive a stranger into your home, someone not trying to follow the Most High, he will disturb you. He will disturb your home and turn you out of what you are doing, lead you away from the Most High, right? So be careful, take heed, and don't be inviting any type of wickedness into your home, right? You're supposed to be holy. What does holy mean? It means set apart. You cannot be set apart inviting wickedness into the place where you stay, right? Because you're basically asking for trouble at that point, man. Because them spirits can jump on you from 1 minute to the next, can just jump on you, right? So matter of fact, let's go to Matthew 16. This is Matthew 16, starting on 17. It says, and Yahushua answered and said unto him, blessed art thou, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood hath not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven. So he asked Simon Peter, who do you say that I am? And he said, you are the Son of the Most High, right? So he said, you are blessed, Peter, right? Let's jump to verse 21. It says, from that time forth began Yahushua to show unto his disciples how that he must go unto Jerusalem and suffer many things of the elders and chief priests and scribes, and be killed and be raised again the third day. There Peter took him and began to rebuke him, saying, be it far from thee, Lord. This shall not be unto thee. But he turned and said unto Peter, get thee behind me, Satan. Thou art an offense unto me, for thou savorest not the things that be of the Most High, but those that be of men. Right? So here we have in verse 17, Yahushua is calling Peter blessed. Right? Then 5 or 6 verses later, he's telling Peter, get behind me, Satan. Right? That's how quick these spirits can jump on you, man. And best believe that if Satan and his spirits could jump on Peter and on Judas, who were walking with our Messiah, Yahushua, walking with the Word in the flesh, then you best believe they can damn sure jump on you, on me, on any one of us who are trying to follow Yahweh Bashem Yahushua as well, right? Which is why we have to stay sober, we have to stay vigilant, and always be watchful and using discernment at all times, right? So this is Luke chapter 11, verse 24. When the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through dry places, seeking rest and finding none. He saith, I will return unto my house whence I came out. And when he cometh, he findeth it swept and garnished. Then goeth he and taketh to him 7 other spirits more wicked than himself, and they entered in and dwelled there. And the last state of that man is worse than his first. So sometimes you can get rid of one unclean spirit. Say it's a spirit that likes smoking weed or something, right? Or another drug. And you got rid of that spirit for a period of time. You stop smoking weed, right? But then it comes back because you're slacking on studying. You're no longer reading the word, right? Or you're hanging out with wicked people or in wicked places. And so you open yourself back up to evil. And this time it brings 7 more evil spirits with it to enter back into you, right? And I've seen this happen to a brother and to a sister that I know personally, right? In this truth, or that were in this truth. Now you're back to smoking weed. But you got even more evil spirits on you, right? So now you're not only smoking weed, but you're watching porn too, right? Or you're fornicating too. You're having sex and not seeing it as marriage. Or you're stealing. Or you're angry all the time, right? Lashing out at people for no reason, right? Because you weren't vigilant. And now your current situation is even worse than before, man, right? So I'm going to read it one more time. Luke 11:24-26. When the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through dry places, seeking rest and finding none. So the spirit is going around trying to find somebody, right? He saith, I will return unto my house whence I came out. And when he cometh, he findeth it swept and garnished. Then goeth he and taketh to him 7 other spirits more wicked than himself, and they enter in and dwell there. And the last state of the man is worse than the first. Right? So another one of Satan's devices is this. It is he will make you think you're doing good. And then you think you're good, so you start slacking on reading. You think you're strong enough mentally, spiritually. You start hanging out with the people that are going to push you right back into it, right? So let's take a look at just a couple more. So we're already, 46 minutes in. Okay, so another one of Satan's devices is to get you to not forgive, right? Because you can't make it to the kingdom with an unforgiving spirit, right? So this is 2 Corinthians 2:10-11. To whom ye forgive anything, I forgive also. For if I forgave anything, to whom I forgave it, for your sakes forgave I it in the person of Christ. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of Satan, of his devices. So it's saying you have to forgive, right? You have to forgive in order to be forgiven, like it says in Matthew 6, in the Our Father prayer, right? And if you don't forgive, then you won't be forgiven, right? And then the next verse says, it says if you don't forgive, then Satan will get an advantage over you, right? Because that's one of his devices, right? Because like it says in Job 13:16, it says, he also shall be my salvation, for a hypocrite shall not come before him. A hypocrite will not come before the Most High. You are a hypocrite if you are expecting to be forgiven, but you are not forgiving others, right? So Satan has many, many ways of getting to you, man. And to put it simply, if it's anything that is against the Most High's word, then it is against the Most High, and it is of Satan, right? Matter of fact, let's go to 1 Corinthians 7 to get a real common thing right here real quick. So this is 1 Corinthians 7:5. It says, defraud ye not one the other, except it be with consent for a time, that ye may give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and come together again, that Satan tempt you not for your incontinency. So 1 Corinthians 7, for those of you who don't know, is about marriage. It's a real good chapter to read if you are married or thinking about getting married, right? And what this is saying is that you should not keep each other, right, as a husband and a wife. You should not keep from each other sexually unless you both consent to it, right? You agree, okay, we're not gonna have sex for a day or for 3 days or whatever the case is, right? So that we can fast and we can pray, right? Because it says then come back together sexually or else Satan will tempt you for your incontinency, right? For you abstaining from each other sexually. And I've seen this happen so many times, man, that it's crazy. I've had to counsel with brothers so many times on this, because you have to come back together, or else Satan will tempt you for your incontinency, right? I've seen this so many times. Brothers come to me and I'm watching porn, or the females start talking to another dude, or the husbands start trying to get with other females, start sending pictures and things of that nature, right? But it's because they are not getting anything from their husband or their wife. They are not fulfilling each other sexually as they're supposed to, right? So you have to be very careful with withholding yourself from your partner, because Satan sees that as an opening to easily tempt you, right? So remember that an evil spirit, most of the time, causes lust, whether it be sexual lust, whether it be the lust of money, the lust of power, the lust for a high, for weed, for drugs, pride, the lust of covetousness, right? That's a real spirit that's running rampant. You just want everything that's not yours, right? Or of anything that's against the Most High, right? They can also cause anger, man. Anger is a big one. I know plenty of people that got angry spirits on them, man. Especially women, right? Or even married women, right? So remember that we got to always be vigilant, got to be watchful of the spirits and of people that they may be on, right? Constantly pray for discernment. And if you think you may have one or a few spirits on you, then like Matthew 17:21 says, this kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting. So spirits only go out by prayer and fasting, right? You need to pray without ceasing. 1 Thessalonians 5:17. Pray without ceasing, right? Especially when you think you may have a spirit on you. And fast to get rid of that spirit. You got to know that these spirits feed off of pleasure, right? So if you fast from food, even from water, if you can, it's going to give less pleasure to the spirits. And as you suffer through the hunger, that spirit will suffer too, right? I just saw a post by the brother, his name's an Israelite indeed, and it said after 24 hours of your body fasting, your body starts attacking all the things it doesn't need, fats, toxins, all the bad things, right? So you need to fast in order to get rid of all those negative things, right? But you also have to fast from whatever it is that you're struggling with, right? Obviously, say you're struggling with weed, you gotta fast from weed, stop smoking. But you also gotta fast from the places where you smoke, right? And the people that you know try to get you to smoke as well. So anything having to do with that pleasure, with that spirit, you need to stay away from it, right? If there's a female that is leading you astray, you need to stay away from that female. You need to block that female, because she's probably got spirits and she's putting spirits on you as well, right? If you're struggling with looking at pornography or looking at sisters in a lustful way, then you need to block all those sisters, right? You need to put a block on your phone, right? Whatever the case is, you need to fast from whatever is causing you to sin, right? So I hope this lesson was edifying for at least a few of you brothers and sisters. And again, I give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. I pray that you all continue to endure and continue to be strengthened through the word and through the spirit of the Most High, Yahweh. And I'm actually going to leave y'all with Acts 26:18. It says, to open their eyes and to turn them from darkness to light, and from the power of Satan unto Yahweh, that they may receive forgiveness of sins and inheritance among them which are sanctified by faith that is in me. So that's what this whole lesson is about. That's what any teaching is about. It's to open your eyes. It's to turn you from darkness to the light, to turn you from Satan to the Most High, to get you to receive the forgiveness of sins, myself as well, and to inherit what we're all looking to inherit, right? Which is only through faith and works. So all praise to the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Shalom.